work with you today. So we are getting down to the pointy end of the ABC April 2025 challenge. Today is Monday the 28th of April. The letter is X and the prompts for X are wild card and do whatever. So I wanted to try and do something X, and I was having a chat with Renee and I said, oh, how cool would it be to do like an X-ray type thing, but like of bugs and plants and stuff, like an entomology theme. And she said, that sounds like a great idea. Let me work something out. And she basically created this awesome kit. So we're going to be making this today, which is like a little pouch of what I would imagine a biologist or an entomologist would send to the lab with some information that he might have found. And I've just created like a little card here, and then I've used Margreth's vintage photo slides to make these little like mini x-ray cards. I thought they came out super cute and they're really easy to put together. And Renee created this digi, and in her usual fashion, not only did she make me this awesome page that's got, you know, like x-rayed images of bugs and flowers and plants and stuff, but she did it in all the colours. So I will just flick through. So actually probably easier if I just flick through like this. And my camera's probably not showing all the colours properly. How cool does that look? It's like that cyanotype photo technique. Love that one. And then not only did she give them to me in all the colours, but she gave them to me in all the sizes so that they would work with the layering labels kit. So I was very excited when she gave me those, and then she said, well, you might need them in a light version as well. So then she did them all in a lighter colourway. Whoops, upside down, Miss Jane. Anyway, I was super duper excited when I saw them, and I thought they would work perfectly with Margreth's slides, so that's what we're going to do. Alright, so I've prepared some bits and pieces beforehand so we don't have to spend the whole video cutting out, and I've got one of these envelopes that I found in my stash. I actually had a few of them. I can't even remember where they came from. Might have been eBay or somewhere like that. And I thought this would be great for our catalogue envelope. So I just want to sort of grunge it up a little bit and make it look like it's been handled. So I'm just going to give it some scrunching. And then straighten it back out. And we'll need to do some stamping and distressing on that after we've prepared our images. But I want to prepare the images to go on the front first. Now on this one I've used the acetate, you can sort of see it shining there, and I've popped the images underneath, but I thought for the front of this one I might use the paper frames, and I'm not sure. Let me just double check. Yep, I think I'll use these paper frames. And I've already cut out some images. These are obviously not the dark images, but I wanted to use the light ones, and they fit pretty good on Margreth's vintage photo frames. And then if I pop them right up to the top, I'll have some room down the bottom here for some stamping or to add a label or something. So I'm just going to round the corners, but I'm only going to round the corners of the top of the image. And then I will bring some ink in and just ink around the edges. Okay, so for underneath my images, I might add some stamping, I think. So I've got quite a few different stamp sets here. So I might just add something different under each one. So for this one, I'm just going to put date of entry. And do I have anything else in there that I might want? And for this top one, I've got 3 lines of text here, but I only want the bottom 2 to show. Sorry if my head's in the frame, I just want to try to make sure that I get it straight. Straight enough. Okay, so then I'm just going to come along and glue my images on top. Okay, so these are going to be for the front of my envelope, and only 3 will fit, so I'm just going to cut these apart. Actually, before I do that, I'm just going to ink around the edges where the white bits are. And I don't really want to completely block them out, I just want to sort of grunge them up a little bit. So I'm just going to try and cut roughly in the middle of my image slides. And bring my envelope in, and I just want to grunge this up a little bit as well. Okay, so I've got that grunged up, and I'm just going to leave that open so I know which end is the top. And then I'm just going to decide, actually I might just round some of these corners a little bit. So I think I might have that one in the middle, that one at the top, and that one at the bottom. So back with a bit more ink. And then I think I want to glue those down. So I'm leaving roughly the same distance between the top of my envelope and the side. And then I'm going to do the bottom one next so that I get them kind of even, and then I'll do the middle one. And I'll know that just needs to go between the two. Just helps me get my spacing a bit more even. So just looking by eye, roughly the same gap, and roughly the same gap top and bottom. Now you don't have to have it even, of course, it's just my preference. And then, do I want to have that one off? Or shall we put it in the middle? I think we'll just stick it in the middle. Something like that. Okay, so now I want to come in with some labels from the dark edition that kind of look a bit sciencey. So I've got some here, and you don't necessarily have to use the whole label, you could just use a part of a label. I'm just going to cut a couple out. So, too big I think. And that size is a bit better. And some small ones as well. Okay, so I think something like that will work. And more inking. Now I think before I glue that down, I want to add just a little bit of kind of text, but not really in the background. Just a bit of something. Just going to use my Miller and French stamp set. And I've got this one here which just has some very fine script on it. And I'm just going to ink it up a little bit. Now I don't want to use a stamping block because I don't want my image to be perfect. And I've used it so much that it doesn't have any sticky left anymore. So I just pop a little bit of double-sided tape on my fingers, which lets me pick up the stamp. And then I don't have to use it, mounted on a block. But I want to stamp off first. So I'm getting just a hint of the text in the background. I don't want it to be very prominent or dominant on my page. Just a hint of something in the background. Okay, so I'm ready to glue down my labels. And I'm just going to sort of layer them and stagger them up in a way that looks pleasing to my eye. But when I do this sort of layering, I try to make sure that none of my horizontal or vertical lines are matching. So I wouldn't want to put that one straight down like that because it's the same line. So I'll have it off center. I don't really want to cover up that number, but I don't think I've got much choice. So I'm just going to set it off to the side like that. So these lines, this doesn't match any other line, and these lines don't match any other line. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so there we go. And to finish off the front, I just want to add some more prominent stamping. So there we go, and I will add something on the back as well, but I need to set it aside to dry for now because I've used VersaFine Clear ink and that takes just a little bit extra to dry. Now I do have an extra little card here, so I'm just going to snip the corners of this one as well. So I might add that one on the back, or I might just pop it as an inclusion in my little catalogue envelope. Okay, so next I want to work on my little card here that I've got like an image of the bee and then what would be his x-ray. So I have here from Margreth's kit one of her frame strips, and then I wasn't sure if I wanted to do the bee or the beetle. And we did the bee on that one, so maybe we'll do the beetle for this one. So I have these two little images that I want to pop underneath here. Now these are printed on the sticker sheet, the clear sticker sheet, and I don't want to peel the whole sticker sheet off and then, because my little images are so small, risk getting cat fur and all sorts of stuff stuck underneath. So I'm going to peel the backing off, just one of my film slides, and then I'm just going to put a crease in the backing paper so it stays out of my way. And this is just a piece of grease-proof paper. Now I'm not sure if this will work with everyone's sticky clear sticker sheet, but I can now line that up, stick it down to pick up my image, and then it will just peel straight up off this baking paper. then I can pop my backing back over the top and reseal that until I'm ready to stick it onto this sheet. Now I only need 2 little strips, so I'll pop that other one aside, and I'll do the same on the other side. I'll just peel the backing off to expose half of my slide. And just fold that back out of the way, make sure I've got it up the right way. So lining up my image. Then I can just pop my backing back over it until I'm ready to stick it down on my page. So you can do that with bigger ones as well. Here's one that I've popped 4 little images in on the sticker sheet, and you can pop that down the side of a journal page or something. When you're ready, you can just peel it off, and that's ready to be stuck down. So I've just got a piece of craft cardstock here, and I just want to cut a small piece that looks probably about 3 by 3.5 ish, maybe. Okay, so I want to ink up around my edge. So I'll bring my image in and I want to cut it in half. And that wasn't very straight. So I'll pop the X-ray sort of picture at one end and the non-X-ray at the other. Now because this is clear sticker sheet and I'm backing it onto a craft cardstock, all of this white and the white that's along the edge of this image here will, for the most part, blend into the background, because my background will be this darker craft cardstock. So just going to stick it down with roughly the same gap on the side and the top, crooked as, but too late now. And then I'll do the same with this one. Oops. Okay, so then what I want to do is come in with like a little grid type stamp, and I've got one in this Numbers from the Past stamp set, and I'm just going to ink up this half of the stamp with the bigger spaces. Try and get it straight on my background. Close enough. Then I'm going to do the same, but I'm going to turn it upside down. It doesn't matter for this particular stamp because there's no numbers or anything forcing it to be up one way. Then I'll grab a couple more number stamps, maybe something like that, and something like that. It's just for a bit of interest in the background. And then I'll pick, it's a bit too light I think. Maybe, nope, too orange. Change my mind again. I think I'll have that one, but I want to just tone down that brightness just a little bit. So that one there, and then I want a dark one for the other side. Then I might just come in with a couple of other stamps to finish off. So there we go, our little catalogue card to go inside our envelope. So I have here some other acetate pieces with images that I have already selected. So I'm just going to use the same method that I did just before with the small slides to adhere this acetate, or sorry, not acetate, clear sticker sheet to these images. Okay, so now I want to finish off my envelope to house all our little catalogue x-ray card type things. So I've cut out one of the large labels and I'm going to use that on the back. I just want to ink around the edges. So I'm going to glue this down the bottom here. But before I do that, I'm going to bring in my stamp mat because I have all of these different layers of paper on the front, so it's going to be a bit harder to get a good impression. So my stamp mat gives me a little bit of movement, and I'm going to bring in these numbers from the past. I'm going to take this sort of grid again and somewhat straightish. Just going to pop that there. That one there. And that one there. And then I'm just going to fill up some of these blocks with random bits. So there's our little stamped catalogue envelope now, ready to have everything put in. So let's have a quick look at what we have created. So we've got our envelope, we have our little catalogue card, one of the extra ones from the front here, and this was from this set. Now I actually just glued this or stuck this down on top of a vintage French receipt, so you can just see little bits of text and whatnot through there, and I think that looks pretty cool. So that was a bit long for the envelope, so I just cut one off. And this one I've just popped some of the labels underneath with the image to fill out the film strip space. It's a bit hard to see, it's quite dark, it looks good in person. And then these two ones, I just love the giant images, I think they look so cool. And then I just popped some of my faux vintage tape over the holes just to give a bit of variation in the colour there. So that is what I'm going to pop into my little envelope here. So there it is, and it can go with this one. So we have two little catalogue envelopes full of botanical x-rays and bug x-rays. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm having way too much fun with both Margreth and Reni's kits. I think they worked so well together. I can't believe Reni created that kit for me. I absolutely love it. I will leave links to all of the kits that I have used today in the description box. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you again next time. Bye.